Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to Freethought Hour. Well, I don't know where you are, but I'm in England, but my two guests are both in South Africa. So here we have Tercia, my co-host. How the devil are you?
I'm good, thank you, John.
Good, good. And we have Dean. And this is also sort of an in-house thing, isn't it? Because Dean is pretty much a member of the team now, I think. Dean, how the devil are you?
I'm doing well, John. Keeping well.
Good, good. We like your background, but we don't really believe it. it's like mine, I'm not here. I could be anywhere. Just need the picture, and that's where I could be. Yep.
Yeah.
Well, I'm real.
It's 10 p.m. It's 10 p.m. in South Africa. Wink, wink. And I'm sitting here enjoying the sunset.
Dean,
Yeah.
do you have electricity?
At the moment, I do, yes, but I believe it's going down tomorrow at 4 a.m. At which time I will be fast asleep, dreaming.
Yeah. Good timing.
Because I was just telling John that we have been notified about load shedding again, but
Yeah.
we had warnings, but we haven't had it. We were on alert, but then nothing happened.
Also,
it's actually strange how we as humans, we get complacent so easily. This was the way of life for South Africans, planning your life around this schedule and, being intimately familiar with the workings of the scheduling app. And then it went away, and, it was almost like that brother in prison that everybody knows about, but nobody talks about.
Yeah.
I love that analogy. But yeah, we became complacent, and earlier this week it came back. Apparently there were some breakdowns and scheduled maintenance that they had to complete in order to prepare for the winter months. And having done that, they say by Monday it should be business as usual, so
that'll teach you to be complacent. Yeah. So, like your new designation, Deacon of Doubt. That is
I love to play with these monikers, and I love I don't know if it's called alliteration.
Alliteration. Yes. Yes.
Yeah, I'm usually the what some of the other ones, but they're in Afrikaans, so it's not going to make sense to you. It's like, for example, the Sakkaroller Sendeling, which translates to the pulpit bandit.
Yeah.
Well, it has pickpocket pastor. Dean, the pickpocket pastor could work.
Yeah.
Yeah. 2 P's.
Yeah.
So
that could work.
I haven't got a topic for tonight, really. So we're winging it a bit. But I want to ask you. I know you're very active atheists in South Africa. I want to ask you what your missions are and what your current campaigns are all about. So go.
Who goes first? Dean can go first. Let's go alphabetically. By name, by first name. Alphabetically by first name.
John, for me it was a bit of a journey, so to say. I've always had a bit of an activist within me, and I deconverted probably at the beginning of 2010, around there, 2010-ish. And ever since then, I've looked for community online, and
Yes.
Whenever I found my online community, I noticed that there is a need for visibility, because I heard a talk a long time ago by Greta Christina, where she did this talk, what the atheist community can learn from the LGBTQ community.
Yeah.
And she draws this parallel basically where she says, look at the LGBTQ community. They were pariah.
Yes.
Maybe
Yes.
2-3 decades ago, it was unheard of, and it was, a social stigma.
Yes,
And
it was.
what changed? What changed is that things happened like the Stonewall riots,
Yes.
where the sex workers who were working in the bar just got sick and tired of being arrested night after night after night and spending time in jail, and they just rioted. And this was a big shock to the establishment, and from there on, it just gained momentum, and people started realizing, like, hey, my neighbor is LGBTQ, my co-worker is LGBTQ, and through this process of normalization of those interpersonal relationships, the stigma sort of like decreased. Sure, there's still a lot of work ahead. But she drew the parallel about how the atheist community needs to learn that from the LGBTQ community, and it really stuck with me, and from there on, I ran into a lot of people who are unapologetically atheists, speaking out about it and saying, like, to hell with the consequences, I don't care. I don't believe you, and if that's a big problem for you, it's your problem. It's not my problem. And so also another thing for me is I'm the type of person that if I discover something useful or helpful, I want to share it with you. So if I discover that I've been fooled, I want to alert you to that fact so that you too can avoid being fooled and being duped. And I think personally, when I deconstructed this whole belief system that I grew up with, I just said to myself, look, I'm not a crusader, like I'm not standing on the street corners saying the sky is empty, that kind of thing. But I always say that when you keep silent in the face of oppression, your oppressor will see your silence as acquiescence. They will not hesitate to take even more ground. That feeling when you push a door that you think is closed, only to find that it's open. That's the feeling that I get when you stay quiet with religious people, because they'll just rush in, and the thing is, it's a violent and oppressive school of thought, and that
I can bring
that school of thought without any resistance will run roughshod over anything that's in its way. So what I did is I found a community of people, because I'm a firm believer that no man is an island. We only thrive when we are together. When we're working together, when we're sharing ideas, when we are interacting with one another, when we have a shared experience, then there's a big therapeutic value in it as well.
Absolutely,
because we leaving religion is traumatic. A lot of people say, oh, what kind of trauma did you experience? Like you just dumped your religion. But it's a traumatic experience on a psychological level, because it leaves you with a lot of existential dread. It leaves you at times with the dissolution of relationships, and in more extreme cases, dissolution of your employment opportunities. So it's a traumatic experience, and there is a lot of solidarity to be found in a shared experience, especially if you connect with people who have been through the same, who've walked the same road. You have an instant kinship that you feel with these people, because you have a shared experience and you have a set of shared values. And after all, it's a lot of fun. I find it extremely stimulating intellectually to be amongst my peers and to discuss these ideas. And the more people we can get to input into this idea, I think the more robust and well formed it will become. Because like I said, you give religion the little finger, you'll soon find yourself without an arm.
Yes. Well, I thoroughly applaud your wish to help people not to be deceived. I mean, that's a very worthy thing to do. It's what I was doing through my career as a teacher. It's what Tercia does with her pupils. We're trying to help people come to terms with reality in various.
Yeah. And I mean, it's so much more beautiful and rich and authentic to be in touch with reality, as opposed to absconding your destiny to some pie in the sky idea that people, the inception of that idea, I'm convinced of this day, is monetarily motivated. It's definitely some con man in ancient days said, "Oh, me hungry, how me get food? Oh, me can't. Give food. God wants food. Give."
Tercia, you were gonna come in, Tercia. What were you
I listened attentively while Dean was talking, and while I could not agree more, I must confess that at this moment in time, I am a little bit disillusioned in my fellow atheists. I am at the stage, and maybe it will change. Maybe I'm just doing something wrong. So maybe I'm just not the right person. But the one thing that resonates with me at this moment in time is getting atheists to become activists is really like herding cats. And I have 4 cats. I know exactly what herding cats is like. Because so maybe you two gentlemen can inspire and help me, give me some wise counsel this evening, because I am getting a little bit frustrated with the many wonderful Facebook friends and people that I've met online who are very good at making brilliant comments and posting memes. But when it comes to putting their money where their mouths are and actually doing something, then they stand back, because in South Africa, the price is still too high. For example, every single school year, at the beginning of the school year, there are several organizations that hand out Bibles to school children, from grade 1s to new kids in high school, grade 8s. And people flood my Facebook page, Kruisvrij, as well as another page that I have, with angry rants about these Bibles being handed out and it shouldn't have. And then when I say, all right, but we do actually have, there's a legal recourse. In 2016, there was a court case brought against 3 or 4 schools, and there was a pronouncement that said explicitly that no religion is allowed to be amplified in public schools. But to do something about, so we actually have.
You have the laws,
We have the laws, but the only way to enforce it, because the schools just ignore it, because, and that's why what Dean said, if you give them a pinky, they will take the whole arm. The establishment knows that nobody will stand up, and therefore they continue to maintain the status quo, which is severe indoctrination of kids in schools. And in 4 years, I've not been able to get one parent who's willing to. All that needs to happen is somebody who has a child in school needs to go to the police station and say, there's a court order. This school is in breach of that court order. But that step needs to be taken.
Yes. Yes.
And nobody is willing or prepared to take that step, because I've not come across anybody who is willing to do that. All the atheists I know are very vocal online, mostly in Dean is an exception. They're very vocal in small private groups on Facebook.
Me too.
And you're an exception. But when you ask them to take stand, then that no, I want to retire in this community. If this community knows I'm an atheist, it will affect my retirement. And it's getting to me, because I'm a little bit frustrated with my people. I feel like a prophet,
It's understandable.
And it makes somebody like me, who has invested. In fact, I can tell you today that, so I don't know if you know, but April last year, I removed 2 crosses from 2 traffic signs in Worcester. And then there was a certain person from a nearby town who took it upon himself to threaten me to such an extent that I got a restraining order against him. Now, I had to get a lawyer, and after 3 court hearings where he did not appear, the 4th one, where the harassment order was going to be made final, he decided to rock up. So that incident has cost me, in my personal capacity, 10,000 Rand or more.
Whoa.
Now, to me, that's a lot of money. And I have had no support, none whatsoever at all, from the atheist community. I think there were about 4 people gave something in the order of maybe 2,000 Rand that was donated. But I mean, that's and it's not. I did not take those crosses off for me. It's to make a stand and say this. So
yes.
It's not. It's illegal. So number one, it's illegal to post to stick anything onto traffic signs.
Yes.
But because it was a cross that was stuck on there, the traffic police did not take it off.
Yes.
But surely you should be able to have some recourse to the courts to to rectify, to make you whole again, so to say, because you can make a case that this particular incident has so to say put you out of the position that you were in before.
But Dean, to do that, to do that, harassment is a criminal offence. So in criminal cases, there's no recompense. So yes, I will probably pursue a civil case and sue for damages. But in order to sue for damages, you have to fork out a lot of money.
Yeah. Can I just make a point here? Because criminal cases are better because you don't have to pay for them.
Well,
the police, the prosecution service, they foot the bill.
No, I have to pay my lawyer.
No, you don't need a lawyer. They do the prosecution. Criminal cases are prosecuted, at least in this country, by the Crown Prosecution Service, who are the agents of the police to enforce the law.
In South Africa, it does not work like that. I need a lawyer to represent me.
Well, that's in the UK. You only need to pay for a lawyer, and it's an option. I mean, I've been in court 3 times, and I haven't paid for a lawyer. I do it myself. It cost me a gallon of petrol to get to the court. Or the last time, it was all remote, so I did it from my studio. I liked that. I didn't even get frisked going into the room.
for me to file to go to the police and get the necessary documents and get them to do something, I actually really do need a lawyer to get that. Yeah.
Oh.
Because if you don't have legal representation, then your case in South Africa, harassment is not a proper criminal. So there's different court. It's a lower court.
Well,
and
yes,
there's
but that wasn't the offence. The offence was pinning a cross on the sign. That is against your law. I've got a cat here now. You can see his tail. And,
yeah. I suppose I should have pressed charges.
Yes,
but now you don't know who put them there. So who are you going to press charges against? There's no ways the police is going to investigate two persons.
Yeah, that is a problem. You can't press charges.
But if you think about it logically, these are two separate, unrelated occurrences of transgressions. The first transgression would be the defacing of public property by posting crosses on traffic signs. The second occurrence of transgression is the harassment.
Yes.
To somebody online,
and
these are connected by a thread, but they're two separate instances.
Yes. And the harassment would be a civil case, in which case you're having to foot the bill. But yes, the problem with the criminal case is you've got no one to charge. What you need to do is set up CCTV over all of the signs, the road signs.
And I can just say, Dean, it wasn't only harassment online. This person actually phoned my husband's business partner.
Yes.
He was extremely threatening. He phoned several times. He threatened the receptionist. He threatened. So this wasn't only online. This was sort of really in person. But the point is actually that until and unless non-believers, skeptics, atheists in South Africa do not somehow be brave, to quote Melania Trump, and say, listen, what is the worst that can happen? And I know there are people who really, if you're a minor and your parent disowns you, yes, or if you really, really will lose your job. But even that, that would be a brilliant test case.
Yeah, it's discrimination. People can't discriminate against you on the basis.
But now this is exactly what happens, and the religious establishment, they are very well aware of this. So they will fire you, and
they'll make some trumped up insignificant thing. They'll find something to fire you and say they're firing you on the basis of that, not on the basis of.
And they will know that if you do have the ways and the means to fight the being fired, if you are recompensed for being fired, you will first have to pay a lot of money because you will need legal representation, and they know that people do not want to do this. So unless and until we can get a hell of a lot of money to push things, I don't see things changing. And I'm just so I've risked and I've invested much of my. I don't mind investing my time. I mean, I have it. I do it, but it's cost me a lot of money that I don't really have.
I don't know whether this will be helpful or not, but in the UK, and I know that South African law was originally based on the UK law. I don't know whether it's been updated with our more recent laws, but in the UK, we have a Malicious Communications Act 1988, which makes it illegal to send or deliver letters or other articles for the purpose of causing distress or anxiety, and it also applies to electronic communications. Now, that is a criminal offence, which if you report it to the police and say you want to press charges, they should do it at their expense. Now, I don't know whether that's true in South Africa, but it's certainly the case here. And if it's the case in South Africa, you definitely have a strong case to make.
You can also, how strong the case is not relevant in South Africa, because our legal system and our police system is so overburdened that a case like that, I mean, I spent several hours standing in queue because this person is in violation of an interim protection order against him. I have not been able in a year, despite numerous transgressions, I've not been able to get this person even nearly arrested, although there's a warrant for his arrest. Yeah. I've stood in the police office. I've said, this is what he's done. Here's the warrant for his arrest. And I'm being sent from pillar to post. And this is a conspiracy theory, I know, but I have my suspicions that one of the reasons the police is not taking action is because in the affidavit, I did state that I removed crosses from traffic signs, and that's why this person is harassing me. And the one police officer actually told me, a senior Afrikaans white police officer said, but why did you remove the crosses from the traffic signs? Why did it bother you? You could have just left it there.
Well, it's because it's illegal to deface traffic signs.
That's what, and he just looked at me and said, but it's a cross. It's nice. It's good. We want it there. I said, do you know what you are? So the police is condoning crosses
breaking
being put
the law
on traffic signs.
Right. So there must be a superintendent of police to whom that could be pointed out that his officers are not upholding the law.
But in essence, you can just tell from afar that the whole system stinks. The whole system stinks to high heaven, and there's absolutely, it's designed to disempower you. It's designed to crush your spirit, and it's designed to benefit only a few people in the country, and that's the unfortunate reality of it. So what I have put my mind to doing in the face of this injustice that I see coming from, recourse that we should have access to as regular people, is to look for alternative methods of making that impact, because it's not gonna, you're not gonna be able to, you won't be the person that has the court case to get, to get God out of the schools or something like that, but you are definitely able to make an impact on a smaller level. And that is my mission. And also, you guys have talked a lot about this visibility thing having consequences. We, in our local group, we always make a point of stressing that you only need to expose yourself to this as far as you are comfortable, because like Tash has mentioned now, this has got far-reaching consequences. We've had stories of our members being disowned, like Tash has said, being kicked out of the house, young atheists being kicked out of the house, and just buyer beware, buyer beware that this has serious consequences. So unless you are in a position where you are self-sufficient, where you are comfortable to do so, I'm not saying, don't get involved in atheism unless that is the case for you, but just be aware that, there's serious social consequences to being an atheist. And unless you are prepared to, unless you are prepared to have your leg blown off, don't step on the landmine. Let's put it.
Well,
you really have an uphill battle, don't you?
Yeah.
And in my case,
sorry, go ahead, Tasha.
So in my case, I was more than prepared for the social fallout. I mean, not that there is much, but I was not prepared for being physically threatened and harassed. I honestly did not think it would get to that. And I did not think that I would need to fork out the amount of money that I've had to fork out to get a sense of protection. So to me, it was completely it was like, what, and I'm still a little bit at a loss as to what we can do to get the community to make a stand. And it's something I wrestle with almost constantly, how to get people to take action. And we've this phenomenon of keyboard warriors is a real thing. When you've posted a meme, you feel that you've made a difference. So if there's anybody out there who has advice, who has resources, please. I don't think most people realize that that we are actually in a South Africa needs a lot of change. But on a brighter note, talking what's happening, I can perhaps tell you that I plan on the 12th of February, and I'll give you some feedback, John. We can maybe do a little bit of a show on it. I plan to visit an event that will be held on the 12th of February, just around the corner from me, very widely publicized. 2 prophets will be having a special service. And I've actually found somebody who's going to go with me, and I'm going to go and just observe and see what happens at one of these. It's going to be major. I've never been to such an event. So I'm going to see how many miracles happen and what happens. And I want to actually see if the prophets can identify an atheist in their midst, So if I go, will they be able to, and I really do hope that somehow I'm picked to be slain in the spirit, because I can't wait for that moment when a prophet pushes his hand against my forehead and I push back,
I have it on very good authority that when it comes to the miracles, it's a toss-up, but when it comes to them smelling money on you, sense that they definitely have.
Well, we'll see. So I'm planning to attend this and maybe take some video footage and just to see what it's actually like. So I'm heading into the Lion's Den on the 12th of February.
Well, here's the thing. Sanal Edamaruku?
I know him well, yes.
He'd like to be part of that because he is a prophet debunker. I wonder if he would, because he's got his own organization in Finland, and I don't think he's restricted financially, so he might be prepared to fly down and take part in that. Because the reason he's in Finland is because it's not safe for him to be in India because there's so many prophets that he's exposed.
Yeah.
Who would put
So Nal and I are actually in conversation quite regularly, and I'll let him know. So if all goes well, then I will try to go sort of do an undercover, and take my camera.
You've got to at least wire yourself up for sound to record this.
Yes.
Which I will. Yeah, no, I will.
Even if you keep your phone in your pocket and just hit record or whatever.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because I don't think they're going to take too kindly to you trying to document this with a video camera.
No.
Well, why not? I mean, if it's miracles and I'll see. I will try to take video footage. I'll try not to get into trouble. But I mean, surely it will be interesting to see whether they prohibit any video, because that in itself says something. And obviously, if they say no, you're not allowed to, because maybe there's a fantastic musical producer who doesn't want his music stolen or something like that, But that's something that I plan to do,
What was this? I'm sorry, this just occurred to me. I was watching this thing with Alex O'Connor, and there's this thing that's gone viral recently where he's he takes on these 10 Christians, and they, it's one of these
20, 25, is it not?
Yeah. And there's a quote that he says that people were speaking to him about demons, and he sarcastically just threw this out. He said, the only thing that demons seems to be more afraid of than Jesus is cameras.
Yes, yes, absolutely.
It's such a good chuckle.
Well, I'm still trying to get him to our next event in London. This is we have the Tabernacle booked. It's in not Knightsbridge, a bit further down the road. I can't remember the name of it now, but we've been there before. This year it's on Sunday, the 8th of June, and my dream lineup is Alex O'Connor. He's a sort of left-wingish type of person, and Douglas Murray, who's sort of right-wingish type of person, with a moderator in a fireside chat. And I want them to discuss things like the threat of religion to Western cities, and I want them to take Q&A from the audience, pre-selected Q&A from the audience, and I'm trying to get Humanists UK to be the co-sponsoring organization for this. So I've emailed Andrew Copson, who is the CEO of Humanists UK, and we know each other. We go back some years in activism, and I invited him to be the moderator, sat between these two armchairs, and unfortunately,
that they're going to disagree upon. That's the I mean, Murray's views. I mean, as far as I can get it online, I'm not sure how far right-leaning he is, but
I know. Yeah, I tell you, I've been following him for some time now, and I was originally influenced by the lefties to think of him as far right. The more I found out about him, the less far right he seems to me.
Exactly. He strikes me as very centrist. I mean,
yes.
He's not overtly left-leaning.
But he is warning us about threats that the lefties would not publicize for fear of being called racist.
Exactly. For example, you guys have got a serious Islam problem in the UK.
Yes.
You've got a very, very serious Islam problem, and and people like Douglas Murray speaks, has
if you're on the left or in the middle, liberal,
you label them racist.
You're not allowed to say that. You're not allowed to say, "Oh, we've got an Islam problem."
Then all of a sudden, your religion becomes a race for some reason.
Yes. So it'd be interesting to see if I can get this act together. It'd be wonderful to see how they talk about this issue, because it's becoming increasingly important to get this elephant out of the room into the room. I don't know what the expression would be, but one of those expressions.
I would like to see the elephant in the room being exposed. That is what I would like to see.
Yes.
The elephant is in the room and people are just sort of tiptoeing around it. But the perhaps, John, I know we don't normally talk politics, and I get why, but these days, in the days that we are living, I don't think we can talk about religion without talking about politics.
Well, no, I'm willing to talk about politics. It's just that I want to steer clear from party politics.
Yeah,
and I have the same attitude towards religion. I'm happy to denigrate religions in general. I just don't want to be pointed at as somebody who's against Islam, Christianity, Judaism, or any specific religion.
Yeah.
But just the I think we need to choose our words very carefully, and I think there's some words that need to be reworked. And two of those terms are left and right. And I was listening to David Kackman, who those words have become too simplistic. They are no longer applicable in the current discourse. They're limiting. They've actually come to mean nothing. And that is something that I think, even as atheists, we need to explore as well. Because I'm stunned, Dean, I don't know if you've noticed this, but in South Africa on Facebook groups, how many atheists are extremely pro-Trump. And I don't get it. And the reason I don't get it is I fail to see how can you be pro-Trump if you're an atheist, because Trump is driving the agenda of the religious right.
No, but this is a funny thing, is that these terms left and right, I think it's far better encapsulated as using terms like liberal versus conservative, or that, because like you say, left and right, everybody knows implicitly what it means, but as soon as you actually, those words have become white noise. Basically, nobody really pays attention to them, because words like left-leaning, right-leaning, left of center, right of center, those words don't have impact. So we have vocabularies. There are hundreds of words that we can use, impactful words that if it's true what you say. Politics and this whole discussion needs a bit of a rebranding, just to to people's interest again.
The words left and right have become fuzzy. It used to be clear because it was a class-based distinction. The left were the working class and the right were the toffs. But then Tony Blair, an obvious toff, private school educated, speaks nicely, Eton and Harrow or whatever it was. No, it wasn't either of those. But the point is that he became the leader of our Socialist Party back in the 1980s. And if you'd been a Martian landing on Earth and meeting him, you would have thought he was a Tory. So at the time, he was calling it New Labour, and it was really Blue Labour, where blue means Tory, And now what do we have? The Tories, the old Toffs party, is led by, what's her name, Kemi Badenoch, who's a former Nigerian, and she claims to have had a period of her life where she was a worker in McDonald's, and at that point she said she was lower class. So what's happened is the politicians have realized that the old classification system isn't working, and they've muddled themselves up so that it doesn't mean anything anymore. But I want to get back to the proposed meet-up between Alex O'Connor and Douglas Murray, which it doesn't look as I'm going to achieve at the moment. But the reason that I'm trying to set something like that up is because we've sort of run out of AAA lister celebrities that we can call upon to appear at our events and attract a large audience, because Richard Dawkins is retiring, and the next tier down from Richard Dawkins is a long way down. So what I'm trying to do is get together 2 or 3 single A-listers to make a bill that's attractive enough to draw an audience. On which subject, next week, our guest will be Nuria Khan. And she really wants to meet you, Tercia.
I can't wait.
Yeah.
So
she's such a wonderful role model, especially and the thing is, we can say all we want about, it takes courage to stand up for your beliefs, and and we're sitting here, when a woman like Nuria has left the religion of Islam and is an open activist about it, that I think, that takes a seriously big set of balls. That
He's very brave, yes. And on that,
um,
in the Global Atheist News that has just been streamed, there's an article about a murder in Sweden of the activist who burned a Quran outside the Iraqi embassy in 2023, and they finally tracked him down and topped him. So
Sure.
It's if you come out.
I saw the Allah Akbars and all of that earlier.
Yeah.
Earlier
If you come out against the religion of peace, you have to be very, very brave.
It's the religion of peace. A piece of you over here, and a piece of you over there, and a piece of you over there. Extremely full of peace.
Peace is. Yes. Yeah.
Like what can you do in the face of such horrific tragedy but jest about it? It's so shocking. And whenever you hear these extremists just lay into people for the simple fact of a disagreement about a belief system, something that's not even actualized in reality. It's a system of belief that exists only in your cranium. As an idea, there's absolutely nothing in reality that you can point to except buildings and stuff that humans have made.
Yes.
And this is the reason to actually go and
ideas. Yes.
For ideas.
Yes. So I liked your drawing of the parallel between the LGBTQ community and atheism, up to a point, because as you've just, what makes us different is just an idea. We don't have a physiological bias towards, lesbianism or gayness or anything else. It's just an idea. So it should be easier to rub out, you would think.
Yeah. That's another thing that speaking about activism, that is my mission for 2025, is to actively engage with believers, and I even if we as atheists, we need to get off our asses, and we need to, one conversation at a time, it needs to happen. If you don't have a platform where you can reach thousands of people at once, then do it one person at a time, and I've made it my mission every Sunday. I am on social media, and we are having live conversations with anybody who wants to, and I just want to create that space. And at monthly intervals, we have a Teams meeting for all our anybody who wants to come and chat and join us. We've started doing that this year. We have to do something. And the thing is, we always think, I was always under the impression, like, what can I do? I'm just one person. But unless somebody does something, nothing will get done in the end. So I'm quite prepared to say, okay, I'm going to do it for a year. I'm going to waste an hour every Sunday, 2 hours every Sunday. And the fact that we are there and that we are visible emboldens those who are of like mind to also go and get involved and do that. And
absolutely. It only takes a few to come out of the closet to show that it's possible to come out of the closet.
And
but
something that Dean knows that I'm absolutely very enthusiastic about this project that he does, and that I take part as much as I can. While I do not want to deconvert anybody, I am not a prophet for atheism. I do think that every productive conversation that displays compassion and empathy and Socratic thinking and critical thinking is good for the world. Because if we can learn how to have better conversations, then we can have better conversations. And when we have better conversations, there might be less need for aggression and for doing things like burning books and burning people and planting bombs. And that effect is literally one by one by one. And it's not about making everybody atheists. I don't think it's, I don't want that. I just want to prompt people to begin thinking, because thinking is good for us.
Absolutely.
And then how we have these interactions, I think that's also very necessary.
Yeah.
Because that's how we change the world.
Yeah.
Literally, conversation by conversation. And that's
Exactly.
what I like so much about Dean's project, where
Sure.
I must be able to have a civil conversation with a Christian. I don't
Yes.
want to
Well-
change his mind,
Mhm.
but there might be somebody listening, and it might prompt that
Yes,
first
yes.
question.
Well, the trouble is, and you've just illustrated it by mentioning the name of a faith, Christian. The trouble is they are so partisan.
Yeah.
They think they're right and you're attacking them and their faith.
Yeah.
They immediately put you into the anti-Christian tribe.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, I don't want to be classified like that. I'm against all
Yeah.
faiths, all fallacious claims of a puppet master in the sky that we should worship. Not any specific one. So to escape being classified as anti-Christian, as anti-Semitic, as Islamophobic, which isn't even a proper word, my campaign is free. And this is what Nuria and I are going to be, and you, Tercia, going to be talking about next week, because she's very keen on this idea. Have a look at the banner.
Nice. I like it. I like it a lot. You know, this thing about, what's with this fucking word Islamophobia?
Yeah.
You know? First of all, by definition, a phobia is an irrational fear.
Yes. And it's perfectly rational.
We are perfectly within our rights to be afraid of Islam based on their behavior. So the fear is not irrational.
Not
so
a phobia.
Cannot call it a phobia. You cannot call it a phobia to begin with.
No.
If you look at how Muslims behave and you are not, and it doesn't instill some form of worry or fear within you, then I don't know.
Yes, you're completely nuts. Yeah. You should be afraid of people who are setting out to kill you. Absolutely. Yeah. So can I just say a bit more about the banner, because you liked it.
Sorry, I just piped up.
Yeah, you liked it, Dean, and the reason you liked it is because it shows a thought bubble, assuming that there is something up there which has got some sort of string to a hook in your brain. It's painful and it's unreal. That's what we need to break free from. And it doesn't specify any religion. This is the beauty of it. So we need to get behind this. And I have some music for it. If I play the music, I don't know whether it'll come out of my speakers and go down my microphone. Can I try?
Try.
Go for it.
Okay. Did you hear that?
No.
No.
Oh, what a nuisance. I wonder if I can upload it into this software in time. I'll try.
You can also just post a link to it in the comment section, and then
I can, yes, I can. But I think I can put it in the software so that I can play it while we're on show.
Yeah.
Hello, John Lovell. How are you doing? Push the button. Push the button.
But yeah, I mean, you know, the thing is,
go try this. What do you think?
Nice. It reminds me a lot of Ozzy Osbourne.
Well, it's supposed to be reminiscent of Queen.
Okay, well, I don't know. You know, like it sounded. I got like early Black Sabbath from it.
Yeah.
I didn't hear anything. I wondered, John, what are you afraid? John Lovell, what are you afraid of? He says John Lovell says he's terrified. I wonder why. Maybe of Islam. So yeah,
that's a healthy. It's a healthy fear. It's healthy to be terrified of people who have this malicious intent. I don't know. You know, the thing is, you know, we always run the risk of just being these nagging people who just keep on nagging online, and you know, I to both you and John share my sentiment, Tertia, where we, you know, we have to find something, and it's this mission of activating people. And getting them to be passionate and excited about something. This has been a mission of mine ever since I started on this journey. And you know, we've had so many different attempts, but the you know, the secret I found is to actively involve people. You know, whenever people interact with any content, you know, actively involve them. You know, so like, hey, so great to see you. Do you know? Yeah. You want to get involved, you know, you want to do this or you know, get involved, do some behind the scenes. And
you can't beat the face-to-face.
You can't.
That's true. But you know, John, you and I spoke about this about 2 years ago, and maybe it's time we revive this idea. We had this idea of to do a show or a series of shows, Know Your Bullshit, where we actually engage Christians on the Bible, on the topic of the Bible. And I've come across a few jewels again, because humor, I think we mustn't forget the value of humor and making fun of these holy texts. I know the Bible. I know the Bible really well.
Christians are not going to come and expose themselves on a show that's called Know Your Bullshit.
we can have it. I'm just spitballing here, but the idea, or even atheists, we can talk about things in the Bible, because the Bible is such a rich source of constant illumination of the stupidity of the faith. And I know it so well, and despite knowing it so well, I still find new depths of depravity and illogic in it. The other night, Donnie, my husband, he's an engineer, and he thinks of things that I never think of. And both of us grew up with the Bible. But he says, the other night, he said he was wondering, you know, with the fall, so Adam and everything was perfect. And then it was the fall, and then people started getting sick and dying, and it was, so did God have to sort of, did God create all the bacteria and the viruses?
Yep.
Did he create them and keep them somewhere in a back room in the cosmos somewhere for when the fall happened? Or did he sort of have to say, oh fuck, now I have to begin creating again? I was just resting from creating.
Abracadabra.
Nice God, isn't he, eh? Nice God. Anyway, guys, I'm sorry, but we've run out of time.
Just when we started having fun.
So I've already announced that it's Nuria Khan next week, and we're going to be talking about the I Want to Break Free campaign, which she's going to join in.
Please send my regards if I miss it.
Yes, indeed. Yeah. So as an outro tonight, I'm going to play the I Want to Break Free music. So there you go. Thank you very much, guys. Thank you for coming.
Dean. It was nice to see you. Bye, John.
Cheers,
Bye-bye.
guys. Take
Return,
care.
see you again tomorrow for the views on the news, I hope.
I will try.
And you too, Dean, if you're of a mind to.
It depends. I've got a bit of a streaming schedule tomorrow. I'm interviewing an ex-pastor tomorrow, and then also going to do some TikToking. But I should be free early evening, so depending on what time.
I'll send you the link. Yep.
Yes, send me the time and the link, and then we can take a look.
Yeah. Here's a couple of messages from John Lovell.
Go with God.
Yeah. Thanks, John. Thank you. So here we go with the new outro.